Hello, M4K down here in the shop today. Today what we're really doing is we're just testing to make sure that the lights and the camera and the microphone solution we've got set up here are actually working. Everything is kind of new here, so I'm trying to kind of get things figured out and balanced, and what better way to do it than to actually put together a video. So the item we have on the bench today is something pretty normal. This is a Macintosh LC-2. This is one of the more common 68K Macs that is around kind of on the used market today. These were sold in huge numbers, both to educational organizations and to the public. It came in a bunch of different formats and styles. It was sold as the Macintosh LC-2, as well as a number of different Performa variations of the Performa 400 series. It's a pretty bog standard machine. They're not terribly rare or coveted or anything like that by collectors, as their expandability is a little bit limited, as they are designed as entry-level Macintosh machines for things like school and home and that kind of thing. More simple machines from the early 90s. But I've got it here. It's an easy open Mac, so I'm going to just kind of walk you through this one, and we'll look at it and go from there. So first off in the front here, we got LC-2. It is an automatic eject floppy drive. Some of these have the manual eject with little things for your fingers to go on there, but this has got the automatic. It's got a little bit of venting up here for cooling, otherwise all the stripes are purely cosmetic. On the back we have, if I can get it here, it's held together with these little tabs. That's you can put a screw in there if you wanted to, but I don't have that in here. It's a pizza box format, so it's a very thin, narrow little computer. Your power supply on the back here, your DB25 for your video out. It's missing a screw on that one. You've got your Apple Talk, your serial connector for your printer, your ADB for your mouse and keyboard, your SCSI pin connector for your SCSI devices. Actually, I believe that's a DB25. I'm confusing that. I think it's a DB16. And you have your speakers out and your microphone in. And then you have a blank here for your expansion. So if you had another card in here, typically either an Ethernet card or a 2E card, you could put that in here and it would stick the ports for that out the back. But not a whole lot to it on the outside. Not a lot to look at. No, it doesn't even have any lights on or anything like that to indicate it's even running. So we're going to take it. We're just going to lift those tabs here. Lift this off just like so. Not a whole lot inside. See, they've got a little bit of hole there for the venting, and that's about it. And in we go to the machine itself. I'm just going to tilt this towards you. So, starting at the front here, we have our floppy drive here. It's a 1.44 megabyte floppy drive. This is the, like I said, the electronic eject one. That's the only real variation on these. Pretty simple little thing. A lot of Macintosh machines had these. It has a 40 megabyte Connor hard drive, so this tells me that it's an earlier model LC-2. They later on they shipped them with 80 and then even a little bit bigger drives as time went on and as the cost of hard drives went down. They did continue to use SCSI drives, which is the SCSI format rather than the IDE or PETA drives that a lot of the PCs were using. Apple would eventually move over to that, but they stuck with SCSI for a while as it was seen as a more reliable and a little bit faster format. It is kind of a bummer though, because these drives typically don't live very long. This one is still working, but for how long is anyone's guess. And once they go, then they have to either be replaced with new parts, which are increasingly rare, or you have to find another kind of SCSI solution, either like a SCSI to SD device or a blue SCSI or some other, new modern solution, which can be kind of pricey. And for machines like this, it's usually not even really worth it, because typically those devices get saved for machines that are a little bit more capable. Next, we got a speaker here in the middle here, just kind of tucked away. It's better than a beeper speaker, but not by a whole lot. Of course, it's mono sound, and it's just, a very basic little speaker there to give you some semblance of sound for your programs that might have a little something on there. Next, you get a fan there. This is kind of a surprise, as a lot of Apple machines up to this point didn't have great cooling options or venting options or airflow or any of that kind of thing, but they did consider that on this one. So it has a little bit of a riser that creates a gap underneath the machine, and then the fan will blow and in theory blow it out the little vent in the top there. It had another thing going for it, in that the hottest component in here is definitely going to be the power supply and not anything else. There aren't even any heat sinks and anything, as it's pretty bog standard. So moving a little bit further back here, we have the battery, the Pram battery. I have not pulled this one out, as this is a new one that Sam had put in. So that one is good for a while. And we'll keep an eye on that one in the next decade or so, but that one should be okay for now. And then next up onto the board here, we have the power supply over here, this big TDK. This has caps that can go bad, but this one is just got redone. Sam redid the board on this one, so we'll go over to the VCF show. And let's see, we've got our various ROMs and input devices here, so this will control your characters and all that kind of stuff for actually running the computer. It has a whopping, if I can check my notes here, I believe it has 4 megs. Yes, it has 4 megabytes of RAM built in on this, and then it has a 256K SIM here for the video RAM. So it has a separate slot here for the video RAM. You can expand this up to 10 megabytes of RAM, but that's it. That's as high up as the board will support, which kind of puts a bottleneck on the processor over here, which is this one. This is a Motorola 68030, which is a better version than the original LC, which only used an 020. But this was kind of the peak of these low-end Macintosh machines. They had a processor that's clocked at 16 megahertz. It's not terrible by, System 7 standards, but it's not going to be able to do anything super duper fancy. These, of course, were designed as low-cost LC, so there's not a whole lot going on here except a lot of cost reduction. Let's see, the video chip is over here. You've got your system controllers here. Just a lot of chips that make it actually function as a Macintosh. So you got a cat farm here for your video out and a couple other functions, and that's it. There is precious little to this machine that makes it tick. It's about as simple a Macintosh as they come. So now that I've got that rambled on about, let's get a monitor and see what it looks like. All right, welcome back. We have ourselves a monitor here. This is the Macintosh Performa Plus display. This was a monitor that was actually sold with the Macintosh Performa 410, identical to the 405 and the LC-2 in technical specs, but it is the 410 came with a monitor, so they've got a different designation. This monitor, as you may notice, is flickering on screen there, and that is despite my best efforts to get this camera to work with it, but for whatever reason, it is not synchronizing to it. I know this monitor has some problems. I'm guessing it's probably just either slightly ahead or slightly behind the actual refresh rate, and I can't dial it in quite right on there, but this is about as good as it's going to get. To back up my thinking that this monitor is broken or on its way out is that you may notice it is very blue, and that is not a camera problem. That is the actual monitor. I don't know why it's got this kind of weird kind of blue teal coloration to it. It's a very strange kind of thing it's developed in the last probably year or so. I don't use this monitor very much, but when it comes to actually showing off the LC-2, this is a monitor that actually would have been sold with these computers, so I thought it would be appropriate, if nothing else, just to show you what the machine looks like when it's actually up and running. Back onto the LC-2, it is a relatively low-power, low-cost Macintosh. They're fairly easy to get a hold of still on the used market, assuming the batteries haven't blown up and wrecked them. And while it's not terribly powerful for gaming, there's not a ton of real, high-graphic Mac games that are going to run on this thing, but for your general purpose Macintosh software, your simple games, this is going to be a really solid choice. It's not going to be super fast. It's not going to be super powerful for the the kind of high-end systems, but it's also a lot more affordable, and it's a lot easier to kind of get into in the hobby. Plus, if you're looking for a Macintosh to fix, say it's as is not working, these are much simpler to work on, as it's one board. The entire case pops open with one screw at most. It all just comes out toolless, and it's a single board. You just gotta take the caps off usually, and there's a power supply that needs some caps. That's about it. It's all laid out, and they're really easy for beginners to kind of work on. So I kind of recommend these for newbies, because this is if you're going to work on a Mac, this is a lot easier than having to take apart say an SE30 or a Color Classic or something like that. These other big Macintosh machines, even your Macintosh like a 2CI or something like that is going to be kind of a pain, because you have so many things to take apart inside of it. This is about as simple as they come. So, but yeah, let's take a look at a couple of things that are on here. It's got what does it have on here? Not a whole lot. I think this one had got a printer set up for different kinds of printer. And let's see what's on the disk drive. I forget if this one got nuked or not. No, I guess this one is still not wiped out, so I'll have to get it done at some point. So yeah, aren't any games on this one. I can fix that real fast though. One moment. Alright, just get back here and we got the blue screen again. Let's try the stunt copter. Another game I'm not very good at. That's okay. Let's show you what it looks like. Oh, I ruined it. There we go, there's something different. Oh, let's turn on a demo there so I can watch it do its thing. It looks way better when it's in all the colors and not just blue and yellow. Still, it's kind of cool. Oh, very cool. Well, I think that about does it on that one. Thank you all so very much for watching, and have yourselves a tremendous day.